Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Repeat Ron. Today we're going to be playing some more Killing Floor 2, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to beat Hell on Earth. First starting out with Berserker, but we're going to turn this into a whole series doing it with each and every class. I'm going to be giving you tips to beat it on solo, and that's what we're going to be playing just because it's easier to record that way, and tips to beat it if you're playing in a group, as well as how difficult certain maps and certain perks are to actually win on Hell on Earth. I'm going to be showing you two different builds that I'd recommend for Berserker. The first one is what I'm going to be using in this video and what I recommend for solo. This is a damaging Berserker build running Skirmish, Butcher, Parry, Smash, and then if you had level 25 Spartan. And depending on which weapon you're using, you might want to go with Massacre, but I will be recommending loadouts too, and Smash is going to take advantage of this loadout. Massacre is better for weapons that attack quickly. Now, if you're playing this in multiplayer and you want a very safe beginner build, for Berserker, I'd recommend going Dreadnought, Vampire, sticking with Parry, either going with Smash or Massacre depending on which weapon you take, and then either Berserker Rage or Spartan. Berserker Rage will keep you alive longer, but you'll be able to do more damage during Zed time with Spartan. So it's your choice. This is an extremely tanky build, just land a parry every once in a while. Your Dreadnought health should keep you up very high, and Vampire will help you survive for a lot of matches. With this, I would recommend going with a strong melee weapon, and then going with a ranged weapon. So something like the Hemoclobber and the Nail Gun work really well together with this build. Alright, so here we are. We start out in Nightmare, and we start out with our Kroval. The Kroval is a pretty strong weapon to begin with. It's also a weapon that you're never going to run out of ammo with, which makes it very useful for the first round, because a lot of people will be running out of ammo. You can use the light attack or heavy attack to deal with enemies. Since I'm running Smash, I will be using the heavy attack more, but light attacks work just fine on these low-level guys. Try to time your parry, and you only need to parry every once in a while. If you have the Vibrance going from parry, you don't really need to actively try to parry, unless there is something like a Flesh Pounder or Scrake trying to hit you, or multiple Flesh Pounds and Scrakes. Even less so if you're running the Dreadnought ability, where you'll just have more HP. Try not to stray too far from your team if you are playing this in multiplayer, because that can get your team killed. You'll probably still survive, but your team might not. Try to avoid bloats. Bloats are going to be a big issue for you in the early waves. Try to let your team take those out, and then just deal with the small guys when you can. You can fight bloats if they're out by themselves, but if there's multiple of them, they can potentially push you into a corner and make the first wave a little bit difficult. You yourself don't really need to be going for extra weapons or extra ammo or anything like that. If you find it, then, take it, or give it to an ally if it's a weapon. They'll really appreciate that, but you really don't need it. You don't need money for the Berserker right away. You can go quite a few rounds with just the Kroval. You don't need to buy armor either. Armor is completely optional, especially if you're running the Dreadnought build, because then you'll have plenty of health. And it's actually kind of useful to get beat up a little bit before the round ends. That way, if anybody's running medic weapons, they can heal you up and get some extra cash. Or they can pull out their healing syringe and heal you and get some extra cash. Same with you. You can pull out your healing syringe and heal other people. So the first weapon I took is the Hemoclobber. And the Hemoclobber is Berserker's strongest weapon. This is the weapon that you want to be going for. Its light attacks are fairly weak, but it does add poison damage to enemies. So but when I say weak, it's still strong enough to one-hit any of the small enemies. So don't feel bad about hitting them with that. Its heavy attack does massive damage and does a big AoE hit. So be sure to use that for crowds and to heal yourself, because it does disperse the healing gas. You can also hit allies with this and then heal them. So keep in mind, you don't always need enemies near you. Again, try to go for those parries as often as possible. Whenever your parry runs out, try to stack up another one. This is just going to give you more damage and more damage resist, so you can tank through hits quite a bit better. You may actually need to turn your Vibrance down when you're playing Berserker rather than up, like with a lot of classes. Alright, the second weapon I'm buying is the HRG Tesla Launcher, for the reason that it's very easy to use. Just use it like a standard assault rifle, and it does decent damage to all enemies that you hit with it. Its secondary fire is also pretty useful for the team. It shoots out EMP grenades, and that allows you to cause enemies to freak out. It also lets you safely attack bloats and husks without any trouble. Most of the time you're going to want your Hemoclobber out, but if enemies stay at a range like husks, or if you see sirens at a distance or something like that, then use the Tesla Launcher. For big guys like Flesh Pounds, you are one of the best ones to get up close and start hitting them. Just hit them with the heavy attack from your Hemoclobber. This can kill all enemies around them, plus it will cause them to freak out from the poison. And just keep actively blocking and parrying their hits, while exchanging heavy hits when you can. Try not to get surrounded by anything like these bloats were coming in, which was getting a little bit iffy, but not too bad once you can deal with them one at a time. Your gun is also quite good at killing robots too. So if there are robots showing up and you get a chance, you can shoot them. Same with if you're running away like this, you can kill things like crawlers. You can kill any small enemies with this quite quickly. You can even kill large enemies fairly quickly with this. For Skrakes, again, you can fight them the exact same way that you fight Flesh Pounds. Be right up in their face and they can't do a whole lot about it. So long as you're actively blocking and parrying, especially if you can get a good parry. Heavy hits from the Hemoclobber are going to cause them to freak out and they go down pretty quickly. Even on 6-man Hell on Earth, you can kill them very fast. You can also throw upgrades into both these weapons, and I would recommend that. I'd recommend upgrading the Hemoclobber first, as it's the weapon you're likely going to be using the most, and then upgrading the Tesla Launcher when you get the money and when you get the chance. You also have one additional weight here, so you could go with a Medic Pistol as well if you want to be extremely useful for your team. The Medic Pistol is a fantastic option for Berserker to take very early on. You're going to get a lot of value out of it, and it's generally just going to pay for itself. Also, kind of camping areas like this is not necessarily a bad idea with the Hemoclobber, as it's pretty easy to get your gas beyond the reach that you think you would be able to. Also remember that you can block cancel whenever you'd like, so you don't always need to be blocking. And you can also block cancel in the middle of an attack. So if an attack is coming right for you, be sure to hit your block button as quickly as you can, and you might be able to sneak in a very quick parry to that. Alright, we're on to boss wave, and I'm keeping the exact same weapons, the HRG Tesla Launcher and the Hemoclobber. I want to keep both these weapons because bosses can be kind of difficult for Berserker depending on which one you get, especially in solo. The Abomination can give you trouble. All the others you don't really have too much of a problem with. Patriarch can be kind of annoying just to fight with melee. Matriarch can be a little bit too. Hans isn't too bad, and the King Fleshbound isn't too bad though with melee. If you do get the King Fleshbound, then Berserker is an easy win because you can parry and block all of his attacks so long as he doesn't push you in a corner. We got the Matriarch, so we're just gonna try to stay back, shoot her and avoid her laser beams and her plasma beams. The easiest way to beat the Matriarch is just lose line of sight from her whenever she's charging up. And you shouldn't have too much trouble doing that as Berserker because you do have bonus movement speed if you're running the Skirmisher. If not, and you're running Dreadnought, that's fine too. You'll be able to tank through pretty much anything. Just keep moving around. Really, when she's trying to do this, it's honestly usually better just to ignore her. Just kind of keep her in your mind to get out of the way of her attacks, which way she's running, and then just attack the robots when they're out in the open. You can use the Hemoclobber if the loop is short enough to hit her with the heavy attack. You can also use it on allies too if you're all doing this. Usually the smaller the map, the easier it is to fight the Matriarch, oddly enough. The larger the map, usually the better she is. It's just, most of the time, smaller maps are the most difficult ones to play. Once the Matriarch's a third the way down, it's probably the easiest to fight as Berserker because then melee actually does work. There we go. We can parry her tentacle. It's at a weird time though. You pretty much have to parry it right as it's hitting you. Otherwise, if you parry it too soon, it just counts as a block, which still works. And holding the block all the way through is not bad.
Did I mention I now have a tentacle?
Oh, yep, you can also get stuck on certain areas where the tentacle can't get you, which is pretty nice. Usually you just kind of want to be doing a hit and run. Oh, well, there's another weird area that she can't hit me. Don't understand why, but... There we go. And she's down. So as you can see, Berserker is extremely easy to beat pretty much any boss with on any board, really. Oh, she actually fell down the hole. Kind of. She's still stuck there. They are one of the easiest classes to play. They are one of the most forgiving classes to play. They're one of the tankiest classes to play. They're just all around a fantastic class for beginners, people just getting into Hell on Earth. Berserker makes everything so much easier. Grab the Hemoclobber, and you can really grab anything else that you want. I would recommend a ranged weapon, at least for boss fight. You don't necessarily need it for everything else, though, whether you're playing multiplayer or not. If you want to be an absolute tank, then go with the second build that I recommended at the start of this. going with Dreadnought and Parry, and save up money to get the Bone Crusher. The Bone Crusher will give you the most amount of block, so then you don't even really need to parry all that much. If you do parry and you keep blocking, almost nothing is going to hurt you. Anyway, thank you guys so very much for watching this. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully this helped you guys out. If it did, be sure that you get subscribed. That way you get notifications for the rest of the classes when they come out. And I hope you guys have a great day. I will talk to all of you guys next time. Till then, stay cool and bye.